Yeah. You do that, and then they'll write that. Okay?
Would that be for every circle?
What is A? A is the what? Center of the circle. Okay? That's why you name it circle A, because it has a center. A circle, by definition, is equidistant from the center of the circle, everywhere. You know, one thing to remember is a diameter is always a diameter, a radius is always a radius, and they're always the same in each circle. Now draw yourself a line that goes through there on each side. We'll call this C and this D. CD is called a what? What is usually used for diameter? What variable? A lowercase what?
D.
D.
What if we write no caps?
Then you better write a lowercase d. You do know how to write a lowercase d, correct? Okay. That's what it is. You don't want to get mixed up with that. That's now. AE is called a radius. What do we use for it? A lowercase what? Any other radiuses in the circle? I don't think there's such a word, but I think it's radii, or I'm not sure. Huh? AD is a radius. Why? It goes from the center to the what? Outside of the circle. A segment that goes from the center to the outside of the circle is by definition a
Radius.
a segment that goes from one side of the circle to the other side of the circle, but what? Through the is a diameter. This all should be reviewed, correct? But we do need to talk about it. Can anyone name me another radius besides AE? AC could also be called a what? And that's all of them that are drawn, aren't there? Radius is always equal to 1/2 of what? The diameter. CD is also called a, this is a word you probably haven't heard of, chord. Chord is a segment whose endpoints are on the circle. Is CD a segment whose endpoints are on the circle?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Therefore, it is a chord.
Yes.
Is FG a chord? I heard one yes. Does anyone disagree with that?
Yes.
It's either a no or a yes. Do you disagree with that? Is FG a chord? Why?
Because
It's
of
on
the
the
endpoints.
Because its endpoints are what?
on the circle.
Is FG a diameter?
No. Because it doesn't go to the center.
No, because it doesn't go through the center, right? See that every diameter is a chord, but not every chord is a diameter. Is AE a chord?
No.
No, it's not, because one of its endpoints is the center of the circle, right? For it to be a chord, think of it like this. It's a chord that, you threw across and wrapped around the other side of the circle and connected to the other side, right? It connects the two. Any questions on that? Do I need to leave it up there any longer? Okay. We good? Okay, circles are congruent if they have the same what? Anybody tell me? Radius. I guess you could say or what?
Diameter.
That's when circles are congruent. That's pretty easy to figure out, isn't it? A word that you may not be familiar with is concentric circles. Two circles that have the same center and are coplanar. So they have to be on the same plane. So that would be a circle that has this center and then another one that has the exact same center, right? Of course, that's not a very good drawing of two circles, is it? But you get the idea, right? Both of them have the same center. But they could have different radiuses. Then this one. You guys remember what circumference of a circle is? It's the distance what?
Around the circle.
If you walked all along the outside of the circle, However far you walked, once you got one full time around, would be the what? Circumference. Circumference is either equal to pi d, or circumference is equal to 2 pi r. Pi is a number in your calculator, correct? Non-repeating, non-terminating. Get out your little red books. This isn't that hard. They're going to try little ways to confuse you. And I'll show you just with a picture. Don't write this down. Has everybody got this now? Okay, I'm going to show you with a little picture how you can get confused sometimes with this stuff. But if you use the KISS principle, keep it simple, silly, you'll be okay. You know, they can draw all kinds of different things at you here. Find ways to make it confusing by doing little things like this, you know, and having all kinds of stuff like that. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. J, K. You know, they might just go so far as to make that a right angle. They can make all kinds of goofy little things here. By that statement, is there a lot that you can tell me about that?
Yes.
Here's the thing. No matter what, no matter how I draw it, a radius is always a radius. What I mean by that, if GB is 5, tell me something else you could tell me.
AC is 10.
AB is 5. I heard AC is 10. Now, why is that?
Because 5 plus 5.
Okay.
EH
FH is
is also 10 or FH.
also what? 10.
FB,
FB, 5
BH,
is what?
5.
CB is 5.
CB.
And that's all.
And that's all, isn't it?
DC is 5.
What if I said CJ is equal to 2?
CJ.
Equal to 2.
Then what's JB?
3.
3. But you see how I can start to get confusing a little bit?
Yep.
But no matter what you do, each time, if it goes from the center to the outside, they're the same all the way around. One side to the other side, through the middle is always a what? Diameter. So I just told you that, and you could tell me all of that about that. So that's just a thing to remember, is that they're not going to tell you that two radiuses are equal when you're looking at a picture. I mean, if they're both radiuses, which you can look at, it's kind of like I've told you about looking at a picture. What do you know about those two angles right there? Huh?
Adjacent. Oh, no, 180 degrees.
They add to 180 degrees. That's one of the things you can tell by looking at a picture, right? I tell you, just because it looks like it's 90 degrees doesn't mean it is unless they mark it, right? What do you know about that? The opposite angles are what?
Congruent.
That's another thing you can get by what? Looking at a picture, right? By looking at this picture, if it starts there and goes to there, I know it's a radius. If it goes from there to there and it goes to there, I know it's a diameter. That's another one of those things that are always true, no matter what. Okay? Now, let's look at down here. How would I name this circle? You guys agree?
Yes.
Okay. Name radii of the circle. Oh, that is how it go I. That's the plural of it.
AR, XR,
AR. I need to put a segment above it, right? Comma. Name me another one.
XR,
And then RB.
and YB. Or RY.
Doesn't matter either way, does it? That's all the radii there, right? Does everybody understand that? Name some chords.
YB and AX.
I heard YX. Why? Because it goes from one side to the what? Other. Name me another one.
YB.
YB, good. It goes from one side of the circle to the other, does it not? That is a chord. It's a small chord, but it is a chord, is it not? Because it goes from one side. Each of the endpoints are on the what? Outside of the circle. Yes?
Wait, so would X, Y, and AB still be a diameter?
If it goes through the center, it's a diameter. So YX is a chord. It just happens to also be a diameter. YB is a chord, but it's not a diameter.
Yeah.
And AX is another chord. And what's the only other one? Which ones are the diameters?
AB and YX.
AB and YX. The other two are just chords, correct? Name the diameters of the circle. X, Y, and what? Okay, AB is 18. And find AR. What's AR? Because if they're saying the whole thing is 18, so that means that's 9 and 9, right? Everybody with that? Everybody got that? Okay. RY is 10 inches. Find AR and AB. What's AR then?
10,
AB,
20.
10 inches, 20 inches. Why is AB congruent to XY?
But they're both to the center and
They are both what?
diameters.
Diameters for circles are always equal. Not so bad, is it? Go to the other side. Huh? They're both diameters. And diameters of the same circle are always, diameters are the same throughout a circle. This one's going to deal with circumference. Find the diameter and radius of a circle with the given circumference. Round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, they gave you the circumference. Here is your C is equal to 2 pi r, correct? So in this case, 40 is equal to 2 pi what? What am I going to divide both sides for to find r? No, how about 2 pi? What would your radius be equal to? Go 40 divided by 2 divided by pi. And use the pi button in your calculator. Always use the pi button in your calculator unless a problem asks you to use 3.14. Don't just type 3.14 in. You guys hearing me on this? This is very important. Yes, you do. If on a test, like, and you'll see this sometimes on ACT tests or things like that, or an end of instruction test, they say, like this one, find the radius. use 3.14 for pi, then use 3.14. If they don't ask you to use something for pi, but they ask you to round, you use the pi button because it will take it to more places. So they're asking you to round here, so you're not going to leave it in terms of pi. What do you guys get as an answer?
6.37.
Huh?
6.37.
Is that what you guys got?
Type it in right there, 40
I
divided
got
by-
62.83.
Yeah, me too.
You're wrong.
Don't you do 40 divided by 2, then divided by 5?
R equals 6.37.
Yeah.
40 divided by 2.
Yeah, then
Divided by pi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 6.37.
Can do 40 divided by 2, then 40 divided by pi? Or
No.
20 divided by pi?
Yeah,
What do you put in for the radius?
that's the radius.
6.3.
We solve for the radius by dividing both sides by 2 pi. I mean, is this really any different than this equation? Look at me. You guys look up here. If I had 40 is equal to 2r, would you guys have any problem at all solving for r? Listen up here. Would you guys have any problem at all solving for r? You divide both sides by 2, right? You get r equal to what? The only difference between the two is we had 40 equal to what? 2 pi r. Pi is just a number. So you divide this side by what's in front of the r, which in this case is 2 pi instead of just what? Divide the right side by 2 pi, you have to divide the left side by what? You could put 40 into your calculator, then press divided by, and then press parentheses 2 times pi, close parentheses, and you should get the same answer.
See, I did that just with parentheses.
Right. What you did is you went 40 divided by 2 and then multiplied by pi, which is very wrong.
See,
If you do this, if you go 40 divided by 2 times pi,
You get 62.
you're going to go 40 divided by 2, you're going to get 20 times pi. So now you're multiplying by 3.14 instead of dividing by 3.14, which is going to give you a very wrong answer, is it not?
62.8.
would
Right.
you multiply it before you divide it now?
No. You could. You could go 2 times pi, look at what it says in the calculator, and then press 40 divided by that.
Should do then divided by 40?
No, 40 divided by that. See, you're just going to be a pain, isn't it?
6.8.
So they also asked for the diameter here, so what's the diameter? 12 point what? 7, 4? What's the only difference between this problem? You're going to put 256 in is equal to what? 2 pi what? R. What am I going to divide both sides by? What do you guys get as an answer there?
Got 40.74.
40.74.
Feet. So what is your diameter?
81.49.
I think 4.8 would be acceptable too.
All right.
You're going to get a little bit different answer depending on if you put pi d or if you just multiply it by 2 after you've rounded. Okay, everybody look at number 7. What do you think they're asking you to do here?
Probably find the length of the triangle. No.
Exact circumference.
Find the exact circumference.
So we have diameter.
What do we need for circumference? Or we can use 2 pi r. We need the diameter. What is this length right here?
We don't know.
That's the diameter, isn't it?
Spectacular.
What is significant about this triangle here? What do you think, big dog? It's a right triangle. What theorem can we use? Pythagorean's theorem. What is that, big dog? A squared plus b squared is equal to Which one's my hypotenuse? Which one is my C? The diameter, correct. So, to find the diameter, I'm going to do what? H squared plus what? Is equal to C squared. 64 plus what? 36 is equal to C squared. 100, is that right? Is equal to C squared. When I take square root of both sides, what do I get C to be? 10. So what is your diameter? 10 centimeters. Now, find the exact, and this is a key word here, exact circumference. When they ask you to find exact, did they say to round any at all?
No.
You were going to leave it in terms of pi. Leave it in terms of pi. What does that mean? That means you don't put pi into your calculator. You figure everything else out and put a pi at the end. So to find the circumference is pi d, correct? What did I find d to be? It's pi times 10. Your circumference is simply 10 pi. You just don't multiply the pi. That is exact. When they ask for an exact answer, leave it in terms of pi. When they ask you to round,
I thought the circumference was 2 pi r.
it is 2 pi r.
Let's define the diameter.
It's also pi d. If that confuses you, then once we found the diameter, what would the radius, if the diameter for this one was 10, what's the radius? Riley, what's the radius? If the diameter was 10, what's the radius?
Which one are you talking
This one right here.
about? 5.
Okay, if I put C is equal to 2 pi r, C would equal 2 times pi times my radius, which is 5. I would still get, what's 2 times 5? 10 pi. I would still get 10 pi as my answer.
So, like, the one that we did, like, above it is to find the radius.
Let's, we'll do number 8 now. And I'll draw it and make it bigger up here. So hopefully it won't mess with you guys as badly. They want us to find what the circumference is equal to. I want you guys to not write and simply watch. Put your pencils down. Big dog, what are you using that phone for? Okay, good. What do they tell you? This is 9 inches, right? Okay, they want you to find the circumference. Remember that circumference is always equal to what? You can either use circumference is equal to 2 pi what? R, or circumference is equal to what? Pi d. Either or. It doesn't matter. What kind of triangle do I have? Right triangle. If this is 9 inches, what is this one?
9.
How am I going to find this?
162 squared.
Pythagorean theorem.
I could use Pythagorean's theorem. There's an easier way, but that's fine.
Oh, are you talking about the,
A squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. We'll do it this way first. Let's do one thing at a time. What is, which one's my hypotenuse? And that's the diameter, right? So what have I got? 9 squared plus what? 9 squared is equal to?
160?
So what? 81 plus 81, 162 is equal to c squared. What am I going to do?
Get squared.
I have to take square root of both sides. Now, they want the exact answer here, so you have to simplify that square root. Okay? What's the largest perfect square? It's a factor of 162. No. How about 81? Isn't 81 plus 81 62? So square root of 81 times square root of 2. So 9 square roots of 2 is what C is. Okay?
Okay, just multiply it by radical two.
Yeah, because it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay, so now you know what? The what? Diameter. Which formula for circumference should you use? Yeah, because you have D, right? So C is equal to pi times 9 square roots of 2. So what is C? If I write it exactly, how should I write this?
So it's just two.
Probably 9 pi square roots of 2. Because if you write 9 square roots of 2 and then a pi at the end, you can't tell whether the pi is underneath or what. So make it 9 pi square roots of 2.
Is the other way the 45, 45?
The other way you could do it is, if you realize because that's congruent to that, that angle's got to be congruent to that angle, that means this has to be a what?
45, 45, 90.
The rule on a 45, 45 triangle, the hypotenuse is always square root of 2 times what? The leg. So you know that the hypotenuse has got to be 9 square roots of 2.
It's like I like two. Those are all the test.
That's about as hard as they'll get. If you look at number 10, or even number 9,
Ten looks harder than mine.
don't make it harder than what it is. I have a right triangle where one of the sides is 7, the other one is what? How can I find the diameter? What is this right here called?
Hypotenuse.
A right
Right
triangle. Do I know 2 of the 3 sides of a right triangle?
Yes.
So can I find the third?
Yes.
So you can use Pythagorean's theorem.
Could you make that a 30, 60, 90?
Why?
It's a right triangle.
Is every right triangle 30, 60, 90?
That's what I was asking.
Can you make anything something you want it to be?
Not technically.
Exactly. It doesn't look like it could be, yeah, but just because it looks like it, if it doesn't say it is, that doesn't mean it is. Okay? This one right here. This one is the easiest one so far.
Well, couldn't we just make it 11 as the diameter?
Exactly. Isn't that parallel to that? And isn't that going to be 11? Do you already know the diameter?
Yeah.
Circumference is 11 pi then, isn't it?
Yep.
Would you agree? Okay. Your assignment. Should you choose to accept it?